Well, let's see. What should this one be about? Oh yeah, this one time, Dee and I decided to go up to a place called Stewart's Point. It's up on the north end of Lake Mead, the headwaters. I believe the Virgin River is the little branch that feeds that part of Lake Mead. And it was probably the very beginning of June, or just right in that area. Just starting to get hot out here. I mean, real hot. But in the mornings it's still pretty nice, and the evenings are pretty nice still. And I've heard about it, I've seen pictures of this place before, thought let's do it. So my camper shell was off the truck, but I built a little sleeper in the back of my Chevy truck, and I wanted to try it out anyway. So we take this beautiful drive along what's called Lakeshore Drive, heading north. It's a gorgeous drive, and we find the turn off and we start heading down to Stewart's Point, and it's accessible, but it's a little rough. Now Derek's in his Astro van. That thing, we had to find our way down to the shore somehow, and so I stopped, and Derek's looking around. He's scouting, and he's got this Astro van, and he thinks it's a Jeep, and he's just bouncing all over the place, and he'd disappear over a bluff or down into a canyon or something, and I'd be sitting there, and finally I'd see him come popping up around, and he'd go off somewhere else, and he'd go check that out, and he'd disappear, and then he'd come back around again. Finally he found a spot. I'm like, I'm not gonna go do that. I'm not gonna go venturing around like that in my truck. So we find a spot, and I follow him down in there, and it's like this, getting down in there. And there was like this beautiful mesa, just panoramic view of the lake, and we get parked in there, and it's tight. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I don't even know if I can get out of here once I get in. This has happened before too. I've almost gotten stuck. But we get camp set up. And we're all dialed in. We're checking out some tunes. I'm having a beer. I think I was still drinking then. And right in our line of sight, down shore, there's a dude, he's stuck. This black pickup, this black truck. You could hear him. You could hear him cussing and stuff and yelling and Now, he can see us. We can see him. But he's about a half a mile away. And I'm like, we're all sitting here having a good time, and this guy's stuck down there, and he's probably thinking, come on, you guys. So the sun starts to get a little bit lower, and I walk down there. Now, the minute I'm walking along the shoreline, and the first thing I notice is because of the water has been retreating at Lake Mead so much and so fast, at least back then. I haven't been there in a while to see what it's like now, but the shoreline was real muddy. I mean, real muddy. So I finally get to this guy, and he's just bugged in. His front tires are up to the wheel wells. He ain't getting out. I don't know if he had a 4x or not, but he didn't have a winch, obviously, and he's stuck. So I'm looking around and how he got in where he was at, and I'm like, there ain't no way, even with Derek's seemingly heroic abilities in his Astro van, that he's gonna get down in there and we're gonna be able to get this guy out. So I gotta tell him the bad news. I gotta tell him, I don't think we can help you, bud. And he was a little disappointed at first, but he understood. I explained to him, I said, I just don't think we have the right vehicles to get in here and get you out. If you need any food or water or anything, or if you want to come up to our camp, you know, he said, no, I'm good, I got everything I need. I left him there. So I get back up to camp and we do our camping thing. And we probably had our famous tin-foil steaks, and Derek always brought the food, man. He always brought it. So we're feasting and stuff, listening to some tunes. I'm listening to old ZZ Top songs. We're fishing. And we stayed up all night fishing. But I got a little bit of footage of this. I was hoping at one point somebody would notice this guy down there. So it gets dark. And now, finally these dudes come along. Now down at Lake Mead, and I'm sure it's like this everywhere now, there are these enthusiasts that go out hot dogging in their 4x, and they got the LED lights under their trucks, and just they got all kinds of lights and everything, and they're just zipping around having a ball. And I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that they'll spot this guy. Well, they did. And I see them making their way down there, and they start helping the guy out. And they can't get him out. They must have been down there for a good 2 to 3 hours trying to help this guy out. And I remember hearing him tell him, hey, look guys, you don't have to stay here all night trying to get me out and all this stuff. And I was planning on in the morning maybe driving out of there, because there was no cell reception where we were at. Maybe getting some cell reception and calling a ranger so they could come get this guy. Well, the guys that went to help him were real nice, and they weren't going to give up. And I got a little bit of video footage here of when they pulled him out. So what we got here is there's a truck that's stuck over there. He's been there since we got here. We got here before the sunset, and so anyway, there's a truck that finally got over there and was helping this guy, and they've been at it for a couple hours now at least, and they cannot get this guy to budge. His front tires, there's some motion. I think they got him. So they finally get the guy out, and they all take off, and now it's real quiet and stuff, and we fished all night there, and I caught, I think, 1 or 2 good decent carps, which I was carp fishing that night. And Derek was down there at the point fishing and everything. We had a beautiful moon. We were looking for UFOs and stuff. We didn't see any that night, but we have seen them out there before. There he is. So we got D, he's down there on the point. We hiked down here, it's about 30 yards down to the water. And we had us a bitchin' moonrise. And we got Jupiter and Saturn out. Before the moon came up, we had an incredible shot of the Milky Way. I got one carp just a little while ago. He was small, 4 or 5 pounder, I think. Yeah, I think they got him out finally. I mean, he was buried. See, the thing is, the water's been retreating out here so quick. The whole shoreline's just soft, and this guy got stuck in it. And it was kind of, I felt kind of bad that I had to tell him not, at least not now. But I didn't want to get stuck. And anyway, where we're at, it's a little sketchy. It's always a little rough getting down here, so you got to be careful. We're at Stewart's Point. Can't really see D down there, but he's down by the water. I'm up a step or so. I got a little light D's letting me use at the tip of my pole, and waiting for that to jingle and jangle again. Anyway, it's just absolutely perfect out here. Just the lightest breeze, and fish are jumping.
We are rafting in the morning.
And we're gonna try raft. Yeah, we're gonna raft in the morning. So anyway, Stewart's Point. It's a gem out here on Mead. I don't know, maybe about 3 in the morning. Derek turns in. I probably stayed up another half hour, and I go crawling into my little cab. And out there in that desert, even when it was cool that night, but there's some kind of heat that radiates from the ground, from the earth, and it started getting hot even at 4 in the morning. I had this little fan blowing on me, and that saved my bacon then. But the real story, I got about 2 hours of sleep, and then I'm up. Heat got me up, and it's already pretty hot, and I just decided to fish that morning. But the story was, D was in his van sleeping, and it had to be in triple digits in that van, and I caught a little bit of that. So we fished pretty much till about a half hour before the day started to break out here at Lake Mead in the middle of summer. Well, it's not middle of summer, I guess it's the beginning of summer season. You can see these light first traces of early dawn right around 4 in the morning. And it's really interesting how it's such a slow process. Anyway, we turned in about 3:30. I didn't get too much sleep. Sleeping back in my sleeper here. Pretty comfortable though. But I was running a little fan back here. That little thing right there did wonders. The story here is Derek is still in his van. My temperature gauge in here says it's 88. The heat woke me up. He is just sweltering in there, and that is so freaking funny because he's probably not very comfortable. Anyway, I got up early, and I've been catching some small fish out here in this little lagoon, and decided to stop because they're all little, they're small, and it's kind of not worth hiking down there back and forth for these little ones. So I don't know how long we're gonna last out here because it's gonna be hot soon, really hot. And anyway, this is our little lagoon here. Probably get out and paddle around in that a little bit. The wonders of Lake Mead. We've caught Derek sleeping literally under a blanket of snow before, and this time he's at the other extreme, just boiling in his van, and he finally gets up, and he's all slick, he's all shiny and slick from sweat. He gets up, and it's pretty hot. I'm like, you think? It's true. Derek can sleep through anything. So anyway, we were gonna go take our rafts out, but it was just too hot, and I was burnt out by then. So we get out of there. Now he just pops up out of this area in his van, but I'm fishtailing and you know, spinning the back wheels, going through this little S-turn that gets us out of there. I almost got stuck, but I got out of there, and that was our little trip to Stewart Point. Catch you up again in a little while.
Oh, I bet we couldn't get a good pic of that footprint.
Oh yeah, there's like big paw prints.
The dog print next to the cat print?
Yeah. We got pretty good sized paw prints. I mean, I'm no expert, but they look different. One looks more canine and one looks more cat-like. I don't know what's out here, but we're among them.
It looks bigger than a freaking bobcat.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't know if mountain lions are down here or not.